Hi, everyone. Welcome to another podcast for Dan. I'm Camilo Saraiva. I'm the Director of Medical and Assistance Services at Dan, and I have the pleasure to have with me today Patrick Danko, product champion for Garmin. Garmin, a brand that needs no introduction, right? And Patrick is here with us to talk a little bit about his story and his diving career, what he does at Garmin, and what we do together, Garmin and Dan. So, Patrick, welcome.
Thank you so much. Pleasure being here.
Nice having you here. So let's start with a question that we normally put more to the end of the interview, but we were talking before the interview, and I think it's important thing. I loved your response when we asked if you were a Dan member. You said for quite a while.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your story with Dan, and as a diver, how do you perceive Dan, and how do you think Dan help divers, right? We're discussing
certainly.
that.
So I've been a diver ever since getting my open water certification. I've been probably one of those divers who you get certified, and I just went all the way down the rabbit hole. I started collecting more certifications, learning more about diving, learning more about gear, learning more about the physics and physiology. And along the way, two things about Dan really struck me. Certainly, as a traveling diver, I'm based out of Kansas City, not so close to most of the major amazing dive destinations that you'll find. So traveling a lot, which means I'm away from my comfort zone of the services and support. And I'm looking for a way of helping to make sure that as my wife is also a diver, are traveling and staying safe. Dan was one of the first things that my instructor recommended. Just, hey, this is peace of mind that will help you stay safe as you go through your diving journey. I have a family plan now that covers myself and my wife and my older son, who we all dive together and benefit from that coverage. But also as a knowledge thirsty diver, I started wanting to research and learn around, okay, what are techniques, what's modern practices, standards, things to help me stay safe, help my family stay safe. And I kept finding Dan material as key parts of that research, key part of that learning. So pretty quickly latched on to Dan as a key source of information for me as a diver to learn more about diving safety. And then since helping to start the dive business at Garmin, growing that, and then creating now a new relationship with Dan, partnering and helping to build that mission of safety for divers now in partnership with Dan has been a really kind of awesome journey.
Yeah, this is very interesting, and we share common goals, right? We want to make divers safer.
Absolutely.
And I'm new to this. We had a couple of meetings here at GIMA in the last days, and we were discussing the partnership and the projects we're doing together. I'm from the medical department. I'm just starting to get involved with this. This is more a partnership with the research department, Dr. Frauke Tillmans, our good friend and colleague. And she's being gracious to involve me in this. As a physician, it's challenging, and I really like it, but I still don't know much. So enlighten me and our viewers on what we're doing, what is the partnership entails, and what we can say about the projects we're doing together. You guys have an office close to us too, right? Not just in Kansas, but there in North Carolina.
Correct.
And we're doing a lot of development together, right?
Yeah, so we have Garmin's kind of headquarters for R&D is out of Kansas City, which is where I'm based. A while ago, we had started an office in Cary, North Carolina, which has grown to be a bit of a hub for a lot of our diving R&D. We do quite a bit of work out of Kansas City, but now also quite a bit of R&D comes out of our really amazing team in Cary as well, just down the road from Dan, outside of Raleigh, and use a lot of the local facilities there for our testing and R&D. And so not only the proximity to being close to Dan, wanting to make sure that the latest in research thought and best practices. We're incorporating that into our product, but also seeing more and more, having more and more engagement with the team. Frauke, for example, Ben Collins, our product manager, and I had the privilege of traveling to Rebreather Forum last year, and so much great research that Frauke had been leading around diver safety, in addition to some of the conversations we've been having over the years, are starting to really directly influence how we think about our product development, how we think about diver safety. And it's an important opportunity every time we get to talk as, what's the new thought? Maybe it's, free diving, maybe it's technical diving, rebreather diving, but also just basic best practices for how we should be thinking about diver safety. Big philosophy point for Garmin has been making sure that as we work to promote diver safety, we're doing that with a foundation of good research, of well-founded ideas, thoughtful decision-making, and Dan has been an absolute integral part of that. So as we've gone through R&D for our now very growing and maturing dive product line, referencing Dan as part of that, as a sort of key ingredient in creating our product strategy has been essential.
We're loving to work together, and I'm a client for many years. So I always had products. Everyone knows the brand, right? As I was saying to our viewers, you guys are in airplanes, boats, everywhere, runners. So I many pounds ago, I used to be a triathlete, and I started using your products back there. I still have my Instinct watch.
Oh, fantastic.
So it's something that we really recognize the brand and love to be associated with. So
it's it's an interesting company to work for, having helped sort of build the dive business within Garmin. It's a unique experience to be able to cherry pick, R&D, so engineering, from lots of our very diverse product line. As you mentioned, we support aviation and outdoor marine fitness, automotive, and we have such a great engineering talent pool to pick from. Not only great people, specialists in various areas, whether it's sensors or software or display technology, communications. Being able to pull all of that in and create some really amazing dive products has been a real pleasure. It's allowed us to do things in the dive market that I think would be hard without that really big base of really solid engineering, both practices and really smart people. It's one of the things I love about Garmin. The staff, the people I work with are just some of the most amazing, inspired, creative people from a technical perspective, and we have a lot of passionate divers. The carry office in particular, just down the road from you guys, one of the things that's been such a great asset is having a passionate group of divers, all from all different types of engineering perspectives, coming to the table to help collaborate on building amazing products. So we say this a lot at Garmin. It's about the people. It's about the passion. We're connecting, empowering, and fueling people's passions. We want to be part of that experience. We want to be enabling you to go do amazing things, our customers to do amazing things. That really starts with, for us, having team members who are helping to build those, who are passionate about those things themselves.
Yeah, we have the same philosophy. We're passionate about diving. We always said that we're divers helping divers, right? So we have these two passions, that is help and diving.
Yes.
And it's attracting good people, not being too modest here, but you guys noticed the accent. So we have me from Brazil, we have Frauke from Germany, Manu and the team now from France. So we have this, the power, right? This power, the beacon to attract people that are passionate for diving and passionate for making diving safer and moving forward with diving sciences. And I think this is a common thing for us, right? The science behind it to keep divers safer.
Yeah, it's a place where we have a lot of history. If you're as a triathlete, we spend a lot of time looking at biometrics. How do we approach and interpret heart rate or pulse ox, sleep. A lot of, we know for our customers, their watches help them know a lot about themselves. And that's through a lot of hard work that's been put into biometrics. I know it's an area of focus for Dan. How do we help understand and leverage, what people's bodies are telling them to help make their diving safer? And that's something we've really started to partner a lot with Dan. It's conversations that we've had actually even recently around, what's the latest thought around interpreting some of those biometric signals, those biometric markers, making sure we're being thoughtful. We're not too eager to interpret something perhaps incorrectly, but also where there is solid, good research, being able to take that and help feed that back to a diver to allow them to make good decisions about their diving. So that is non-trivial research to undertake. Every time I talk to Frauke and the team in the research department at Dan, I'm always blown away and impressed by the work they're doing, and also trying to figure out ways of how do we help promote and get assistance for them, because it's a small but powerful team that's making such a difference for divers.
And we really appreciate that. We really appreciate. So, Patrick, you were saying about the biometrics and heart rate variability and all this data that you collect, right? And I know there's a new function, the dive readiness. I think it's it's called, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Can you explain to me as a user and to our viewers a little bit more about it? Because I think it's a very interesting function or feature of the product.
Yeah. So we have so much knowledge around our divers and how they slept last night. How much activity they've had. Have they recently exercised? What's their stress level? We take a lot of those metrics and calculate things like body battery that helps a diver, helps a user at Garmin understand a little bit around correlating how they're feeling with their activities, and projecting a little bit about how future performance, how their future activities might then, what kind of outcomes they might expect. So as we looked at how do we apply that to diving, obviously divers are traveling, there's jet lag involved. That often leads to questionable sleep quality. Dehydration, which is always for DCS, something that we've heard so much about. And when I wake up in the morning the day before a dive trip, we're now on our descent dive computers able to provide a little bit of guidance to a diver, interpreting those things that we're already collecting, but packaging them in a way of saying, hey, if you're going diving this morning, you might think about these things. You didn't sleep very well. Your stress score is high. You have a little bit of jet lag. You might want to think about your dives. Maybe take it easy. Maybe think about adjusting conservatism. Making sure you're paying attention to your exertion on the dive, and those things that we're helping a diver decide how to dive more safely, providing them some additional information to allow them to plan and execute those dives in a bit of a safer way. And I think over time, as we partner with Dan and as our teams start to figure out how more to directly correlate some of our biometric markers with dive outcomes, it allows us to provide more clearer guidance. So that's something I'm very excited about in the future as we continue to partner with Dan around how do we leverage that biometric data with good research to create better outcomes for divers.
No, and I think it's awesome. It's something that in the medical department at Dan, we do this every day, right? We're always trying to advise divers on what would be something that they should consider.
Yes.
So when they're dehydrated, jet lag, everything that you said, right? So one common thing that we have from time to time, people doing those multi-day liveaboards.
Yes.
And one day they wake up, you know what? I'm not feeling that great. We normally recommend them say, you know what? Just skip a day, take it safe. You can be, you have the whole trip to enjoy your dives later. Just take a rest for one day. And if you feel better in the next morning, you go dive.
Absolutely.
And this feature would definitely help with this, right?
Absolutely. It's a way of, in the morning when you wake up before the dive, sometimes all of us, I think we're out on a dive trip. We want to have fun. We want to maximize our time in that experience. and that little voice in the back of our head that's saying, maybe I should take that first dive off, or maybe I'm a little bit tired. I'll, maybe rest a little bit more. Having the Garmin Descent sort of provide a little bit of a visual cue, a little bit of numbers saying, hey, the numbers that we're seeing kind of confirm that little voice in your head that you might want to take it easy. Maybe take the first dive off, be a little bit more conservative. Maybe don't push it as much. Does make a difference. It's sometimes we're looking for things that confirm or reject the voices in our head, and we're hoping that the diver readiness piece is something that helps genuinely keep divers safer by providing a little bit of that reinforcement of what their body's probably telling them already.
Yeah. No, and definitely help us, because we're always looking for these telltale signs, right? We're always asking, how did you sleep? How was your hydration? How was this? How was that?
Yes.
And we can even say, what is your index? I don't know if it's a recovery index like
there's a diver readiness score that's a conglomerate of a lot of those things that we know, and we'll give you a very simple guidance around, hey, you should be good to go. Your diver readiness, from what we can tell, is great. Or, you seem really probably tired, body battery's low, didn't sleep well. Be careful and maybe adjust some of your dive plans accordingly.
Yeah. As I appreciate your coming here today, thank you so much. I think it's something that helps both of us, right, reach our audience and bring knowledge to them, and bring some more information on what we do and what we represent, both companies, right? And do you have any final message that you want to give to our viewers? Anything that you want to say?
Well, I would just say, we as partners with Dan have really appreciated everything you've done to help not only the dive community, but us as we've built our growing brand within diving. Our commitment to keeping divers safe and to creating innovation, to really driving something new, something interesting, while also being really respectful of having a foundation of good knowledge and thoughtful data, interpretation, things that really have good rationale behind them. Dan is a key part of that, powering our whole industry. So, thanks so much for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for the nice words. Thank you.